Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Chapter Summary. Principle 1. Desire. When we decide on a specific aim, and then channel all of our efforts toward accomplishing that objective, we are more likely to be successful. When a want is strong enough, it consumes everything in its path and transforms into an obsession until it is fulfilled. According to Hill's analysis, this strategy places us in a precarious position in which you win or you perish. There are 6 measures that can be taken in order to turn the desire for wealth into its monetary equivalent. 1. Establish in your head the precise sum of money that you would like to have. 2. Find out exactly what you are willing to give up in exchange for it. 3. Determine the exact day and time that you want to have possession of it. 4. Make a detailed plan, and then get started right away. 5. Create a clear and succinct written statement that summarizes the information presented above. 6. You should read your written statement out loud at least twice a day. While you're reading this, put yourself in the mindset that you already have the money in your hands. Although point May 6 seem extreme, Hill believed that the only people who were able to amass wealth were those who were money conscious. This means that their minds desired wealth so intensely that they saw themselves as already having it. The most important thing to remember is that every accomplishment starts with a strong desire for something specific and the willingness to get oneself up and try again after one has failed. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Before we continue to Principle 2, if you like my content, please be sure to subscribe so I can produce more chapter summaries about books like these so you don't have to read them yourself. Principle 2. Faith. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. A person's state of mind can be altered to one of faith through the use of affirmations or by the consistent delivery of instructions to the subconscious mind, autosuggestion. The nature of the factors that predominate in one's thinking provide food for thought. To put it another way, a mind that is preoccupied with uplifting feelings is a far more fertile ground for the development of religion. Faith is the only known remedy for failure, so says Hill, who puts it this way. Because of this, Hill was of the opinion that reiterating your definite chief aim on a daily basis would prove to be of great advantage. Whether for the better or for the worse, our thoughts have a tendency to materialize themselves in the equivalent of the physical world. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between inputs that are beneficial and those that are harmful. The most important thing to remember is that we need to provide our subconscious mind with optimistic and happy feelings. Principle 3. Autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is another name for self-suggestion, which can be thought of as the medium via which the conscious and subconscious minds communicate with one another. According to Hill's theory, our conscious minds act as a sorting mechanism for our subconscious minds. The information that is gleaned from our 5 senses can, as a result, be consciously forwarded to the subconscious mind or deliberately ignored. The most important thing to remember is that we have complete say over the information that is transmitted to our subconscious mind. A daily affirmation, on the other hand, is not enough to solve the problem by itself. The only way for autosuggestion to function is for you to believe what you're saying to yourself and to root that belief in your feelings and emotions. The most important thing to take away from this is that we have the power to mentally encourage either our success or our failure. Principle 4. Specialized knowledge. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when, and if, it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. There is general information and then there is specialized knowledge. Both types of knowledge are important. In the pursuit of financial success, general knowledge is not particularly helpful. Knowledge needs to be structured and intelligently directed toward a certain goal in order to attract financial resources. Even though this is the most important part of education, many schools do a poor job of teaching students how to organize and apply the knowledge they have gained. Never cease expanding your specialized knowledge. Successful people do this no matter what field they work in. Along this path, we have a propensity to ignore free opportunities to obtain specialized knowledge simply because we place a higher value on schooling that requires payment. The person who stops studying merely because he has finished school is forever hopelessly doomed to mediocrity, no matter what may be his calling. The way of success is the way of continuous pursuit of knowledge. If we start 1 to 2 steps from the bottom instead of at the bottom, we will have a greater chance of escaping such a rut and seeing more chances than if we start at the bottom. The most important thing to remember is to keep learning and direct your efforts on acquiring knowledge that is both practical and well organized. Principle 5. Imagination. Imagination can be broken down into 2 categories. 1. Synthetic imagination is the ability to reorganize already established thoughts and concepts into novel configurations. 2. The creative imagination is the ability through which one receives hunches and inspiration for new ideas. By engaging the conscious mind, one can wake up their creative imagination and make it more awake. In other words, activity gives rise to ideas in the same way as exercising a muscle encourages its growth. Hill recommends that you concentrate on developing your synthetic imagination first, as it is the ability that you will make use of the most. The stimulus provided by the other principles will assist in the cultivation of a more creative and imaginative mindset. The most important thing to remember is not to wait for inspiration. Proceed with caution. Principle 6. Organized planning. Hill suggests the following 4 steps for organized planning. 1. Establish relationships with people whose help you might require in the development and execution of the plan. Hill refers to this gathering of people as the mastermind group. 2. Before you go ahead and join this mastermind partnership, consider the advantages that you can provide in exchange. 3. Until the strategy is finished, meet with the mastermind group at least twice each week in order to discuss it. 4. Ensure that you are always in complete harmony with every member. If the initial strategy is unsuccessful, you should switch to a different one. Persist. Hill says that a quitter never wins, and a winner never quits, and I like to think of it like that. Self-reflection is an essential component of any organized planning process. Hill recommends conducting an annual self-assessment in order to evaluate how far you have come toward achieving your goals. The questionnaire covers topics such as the attainment of goals, the quality of work, not procrastinating, not giving up, having tenacity, and having a concentrated personality. The most important takeaway is to develop a specific goal, evaluate your progress in relation to that plan, and continue working hard. Principle 7. Decision. According to Hill's examination of more than 25,000 people who had tried and failed at something, a lack of decision-making was one of the primary reasons for their failure. People who are unable to build up a financial cushion typically have the bad habit of putting off making decisions, taking them extremely slowly if they do so at all, and frequently changing their minds. Hill provides the following 2 important ideas as a solution to this indecision. 1. Allow the opinions of others to have no impact on you, with the exception of those held by members of your mastermind group. 2. Do not divulge your ideas to the outside world before you have actually carried them out. There is a good probability that somebody else will get there before you. Taking a larger chance is generally associated with more serious judgments. The ability to make such decisions swiftly and with conviction is a defining characteristic of leaders. Important takeaway: make decisions that are definite and unwavering. You should only change your mind if further and more extensive consideration indicates that doing so is warranted. Principle 8. Persistence. What a different story men would have to tell if only they would adopt a definite purpose and stand by that purpose until it had time to become an all-consuming obsession. There are many factors that contribute to the development of persistence, which can be accomplished through the following steps. 1. a well-defined goal that is accompanied by an intense yearning. 2. A predetermined strategy that is carried out in unbroken motion. 3. A mentality that is impervious to destructive and demoralizing influences. 4. A supportive and amicable coalition among like-minded individuals. The most important thing to remember is to construct a framework that will support the creation of your riches and to continue doing so day after day. Principle 9. Power of the mastermind. However, without the ability to put plans and ideas into action, planning and perseverance might be completely pointless. Knowledge that is organized and intelligently directed knowledge is the source of power. Hill advocates forming a mastermind partnership as a means of maximizing the effectiveness of this ability. This is a collection of people who are working toward the same precise goal and contributing their own unique set of abilities to the effort. Hill contends that pooling our mental resources results in the generation of a more expansive set of ideas, which propels us forward with a unified and clear goal and a well-organized plan. This is the crux of what we mean when we talk about organized knowledge. Key takeaway: create a consortium of knowledge that is well organized and has a common goal. Principle 10. Transmutation. When driven by this emotion, men become gifted with a superpower for action. Hill contends that there are 3 positive outcomes that can result from the experience of sex. 1. The continued existence of humanity. 2. The preservation of one's health via its therapeutic benefits. 3. The metamorphosis of mediocrity into brilliance through the process of transmutation. The vast majority of us are aware of points 1 and 2, but only a few make use of point 3. The mind must be reprogrammed to think about something other than sexual matters in order to engage in sexual transformation. The urge for sexual fulfillment is the most potent of all desires, and when channeled appropriately, it can become a potent source of creative energy. Hill suggests that people who have historically possessed exceptional creative faculties were also intensely sexual. They were able to harness the power of sexual desire as a source of creative energy. The fact that Hill examined thousands of people and found that the genuinely excellent performers almost invariably did achieve great things after the age of 40 is one of the primary justifications that Hill uses to support this concept. According to him, most people fail before that point since they have a propensity to waste their energies focusing on the sensation of sex. Willpower, of course, is the most important aspect in terms of gaining earlier access to this power of transformation. The most important thing to take away from this is that physical energy may be redirected to serve a higher goal. Principle 11. The subconscious mind. A dominant want is one that is supported by an emotional feeling, like faith, and is practiced by the subconscious mind. Filling your thoughts with good feelings is one of the ways in which you might contribute to the development of what is known as money consciousness. Hill says that we are able to harness this power by becoming masters of the 7 most powerful emotions. These feelings are want, faith, love, sex, excitement, and romance. During this time, we need to do everything in our power to steer clear of the 7 most destructive emotions: fear, envy, hatred, revenge, greed, and superstition. The habit of allowing only good thoughts to enter one's conscious mind, which in turn feeds one's subconscious mind, is a habit that one should form. The most important message is that we have control over the information that we present to our unconscious minds, be it positive or negative. Principle 12. The brain. Each and every one of our heads has both a transmitter and a receiver for the vibrations of thought. The conscious mind is merely a receiving station for thought vibrations, which are transmitted through the subconscious mind. The recipient is the imaginative capacity for creation. The brain's capacity to pick up vibrations of thinking improves when it is subjected to stimulation, such as in the case of sexual transmutation. As a result, we have the ability to expand our creative minds. The most important point here is that providing the mind with the appropriate kind of stimulation can aid to maximize creative potential. Principle 13, the sixth sense. In order to fully comprehend and utilize the sixth sense, one must first become proficient in the other 12 concepts. Because of its expertise, the sixth sense is able to forewarn us of potential threats and inform us in advance of any possibilities that may arise. However, the sixth sense is not able to work when there is uncertainty, fear, or doubt present. Everyone who is paralyzed by fear not only impedes their own development but also spreads the negative vibrations that they feel to those around them. There are 6 fundamental fears: the fear of being poor, the fear of being criticized, the dread of being sick, the fear of being old, and the fear of dying. The realization that fear is merely a state of mind, and that one state of mind is something that can be controlled and directed, is the most important step towards overcoming these fears. 1. Put your self-control to consistent use in order to shield yourself from these kinds of destructive influences. 2. Acknowledge the ease with which you are influenced by others and the 6 fundamental phobias. 3. Acknowledge that fear frequently spreads through the unconscious mind, and maintain a healthy distance from those who are a source of bad effects. The most important thing to remember is that you have complete control and that you must use your determination to get through your anxieties.